professional group, yep, etc. Now let's see the content. Within the intercultural field, there is often an implicit assumption that cultural group is equivalent to national or ethnic group, and much of the research has been conducted on that basis. Yep, as we mentioned. Multi-group membership. Individuals are organized in many potentially different ways in population by many different and cross-cutting criteria. What do you think about this one? Individuals are organized in many potential different ways in population. For example, in Laos, there are Vietnamese people, Chinese people, Korean people, European people, Thai people, Lao people. We can organize into one group. For example, at United Nations, at UNDP, there are Vietnamese, Chinese, Korean, Lao. They work together. They work in one organization. We can also one cultural group, right? We can. So that's one example. Now let's see. By kinship into family or clan. By language, you can group by language. Example, Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, Lao. Race by race, also by language and race. By creed into ethnic group. By socio-economic characteristics into social classes, by geographical region into political interest group. For physical geographical region, for example, Lolo people, Lolo city people, right? We can also organize them into groups. By occupation or institutional membership into union, bureaucracies, industries, political parties, and militaries. We can also organize into different groups. The more complex and differentiated the social system, the more potential group and institutions there are. That means the more complexity or the more complicated organization, the more complex ethnicity, the more complex nationality within one organization, within one nation, the more complex cultural group. And because this group or institutions places individual into different potential worlds, and because culture derived in part from this experience, each of these groups and institutions can be a potential container for culture. So culture derives from different groups, different group of people, different group of complexity. You know, delight, what does delight mean? The word delight, we have seen a lot today. What does rely mean?
Borrow.
Derive.
Derive mean originate from something else.
Uh-huh. Okay, come from.
Yeah, come from, origin.
From.
Yeah.
Borrow
Something
from.
else to-
For example, some English words are derived from Latin words.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
Okay. So I make sure that you all understand. Thus, no population can be adequately characterized as single culture or by a single cultural descriptor. This means we can say Lao culture, but it's too big to say that. We say Lao culture is consists of Hmong people, it consists of Vietnamese people, Chinese people, Korean people, Chinese culture, Chinese food, Vietnamese food, Korean food as well. You see, we call Sindat Gaoli. You see, so it's too general name to call by national culture. As a corollary, the more complexly organized population, it is on social logical grounds, class, religion, ethnicity, and so on. The more complex view is cultural mapping appear. That means the more components, the more cultural components, the more complex is the culture. So we need to understand the components of the culture so that we can understand the culture better. The fact is that there are many different types of social groups, and where members of any group share patterns of regularity in some way, they can be regarded as belonging to a cultural group. Up to now, the field of intercultural interaction has mainly focused on national group and organizational group. However, it's need to incorporate these different types of group within its remit, because any kinds of intergroup interaction has the potential to be intercultural. The more small cultural group, the more complicated, and we need to consider the small different group when we talk about intercultural communication. Now we talk about culture, religious group, culture and religious groups. Before we see the content, I want you to list or tell me religious group. What are they? Religious group, or what religions do you know so far? No? Do you hear me, everyone? Can you tell me religious groups?
Religious group. Religious group: Christian, Buddhism, Islam, animism.
Those, right?
Yeah. Taoism.
Taoism.
Yeah, Confucianism.
Yeah, many. Okay.
Yeah, many.
Good. Now, if you continue, I will show you the content. Religion is an inextricably woven into the cross of cultural life, according to Halakishwa, Stanton, and Gaman, 2003. The culture of a religious subgroup can be manifested in variety of ways, including in members' values, belief, orientation to life, in their communicative convention, in their policy and procedures, and in their buildings, ritual, and behavior. If you see the style of building, you can some type or quite often type, you can predict the religious group. Right? You can know the building in Middle East, like Muslim buildings. You know they are the symbol in the building and style of the building. This cultural manifestation can have a major impact across a wide range of contexts and different levels. My colleagues was visiting me. Was talking. Okay, continue. This cultural manifestation. Do you know the meaning of manifestation? It means illustration or show. Illustration or show or indication can have major impact across a wide range of contexts and different levels. Personal levels, organizational level, and regional or national levels. There are comparatively few culture, comparative and culture-oriented interactional study that focus on religious groups. So, Characterize, Stanton, and Parkman 2003 argue that more research is needed in this area for the following reason. Okay, that means if you want to, when you write a thesis, one of your options you can choose to conduct a research on religious group. Why? See the following reason. Religion is important in the lives of people across cultural groups. Religion has been found to be a significant predictor of salient variable physical and mental well-being across cultural groups. Do you know the meaning of salient? Salient means very relevant. Religion is associated with critical, culturally related values dimension. Let's give example of religion is associated with critical, culturally related values dimension. For example, our culture, our main religion is Buddhism. In Buddhism, it teach people to respect teacher, respect seniority, right? So, in our culture, we respect parents, we respect seniority, we respect monks, high-ranking officials, things like that. So, if you don't show respect when you approach them, you will not receive good interaction, something like that. Or you can receive, you can have consequences. The culture of other social groups shape religious belief and practices as well. Culture of other social groups shape. I want you to give example that the culture of other social groups also influence religious belief and practice. Can you give example? Okay, I'm waiting for you to answer this my question. The culture of other social group influence or shape religious belief and practices as well. Can somebody give example? Chinese friend, Korean friend? Yes, I'm waiting for your participation, your answers. Yeah, the last paragraph, the last sentence. The culture of other social group also shape religious belief and practice. Let me give example. Oh, Mang Saindet, are you speaking?
So, can we regard Bun Jiang as a kind of social group of other people that can shape religious belief?
Yep.
I mean, in other the group of people, ethnic people, and Chinese New Year, Vietnamese New Year, and Christmas, something like this.
Okay, yes, indeed, good. Thank you, Mark. Let me share you more example that other social groups behavior can shape religious belief, religious practice. For example, before maybe 50 years ago, monk did not wear sandals, but now monk do, and maybe monk wear more things inside as well. So that's also influence, right, monk? And now monk also use the internet. Monk use Zoom like that. Yeah, also influence religious practice as well. Yep.
Anyhow, even though we have more things to add in our daily life, but still the Vinaya or the monastic rule is still the same. Cannot adapt, cannot be
Yep.
adapt. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. At the deeper level, still the same, but
Yeah.
as a more superficial level is changed, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like monk who study at university, somehow they change their understanding, somehow they change their behavior, something like that. But at deeper level or at the principal level, still the same. Yep. Okay, now let me keep moving. Describe religions in a country, how they fit in an organizational and national culture. Because monks or Christian people, they stay not only in their community, they not stay only in a temple, they also go outside to do socialize, to do many things. So they also monk also work, monk also go to study. So somehow they change their belief, their understanding, their attitudes, and their practice. Right? Now, culture and organization. We move to organization. Uh, do you agree that organization also can organization they have their own culture? Do you agree or disagree? Many organizations in Laos they also have different culture.
I agree. I agree with that. Even the company has a culture of a company. We mentioned before this morning that we have village culture, country culture, company culture. Anyway, they have their own way of organize. They have their own way of management.
Yeah,
Their
because
individual rules,
yeah,
regulation.
so their own rule, their own regulation, and also their goals
Yeah,
to achieve their goal. So that's influence the employee behavior, leaders influence behavior in the organization. Leaders regulation rule or can influence the behavior of uh, the members. So they have different culture as well. For example, international organizations in Laos like NGOs like UNICEF, World Bank, uh, Asian Development Bank, they have their own culture. Uh, example, the way when in the meeting they respect sharing idea, they respect different ideas, things like that. But in government organization in Laos, we may have different culture. Yep. Now we go to for more details. Organizations can be said to have their own culture in that they can help espouse or assume values, establish practice and procedures, behavioral convention, and so on. Snyder and Barzux, 2003, and others maintain there are cultural connections between features of national culture and organizational culture. It's influence each other. Organizational culture also influence national culture. National culture also influence organizational culture. Lane, this funnel and Masnevsky 2006, for example, imply that Kraxhorn and Strothbeck's orientation to life are applicable to organizational culture. The way of life also influence organizational culture. When two organizations such as Daimler and Chrysler or Rover BMW merge, crises of culture are commonplace and it's not always clear to those who involve whether it is a matter of national culture clash or organizational culture. So this one is an international culture, example of international culture that two companies join together. So the member, they have different idea. It's called the clash of culture. Sometimes it's organizational culture that's clash. Sometimes it's the national culture that they have different idea. Whatever their roots suggest, such clashes may soon lead to discomfort and conflict. This is also not good if they have a cultural clash. For example, the employee of the newly acquired or merged company are expected to adhere to the standardized procedures and processes of or to the code of conduct and value statement of the new company. You know the word newly acquired. What does acquired mean here?
Acquire.
Sometimes I want to ask you a new word.
Acquire means gain. Obtain, gain something.
Yeah. And in this context, it means acquire means possess or buy. Newly buy or possess. Thank you, Monk. In the same way, when individuals move from organization to another, they may well experience a cultural dip, stress, or cultural shock, especially if the organization differ significantly in values as well as practices, procedure, and behavioral convention. So this one is the meaning of this paragraph is mean that, for example, suppose now I work at government organization. I work at National University of Laos. We have our own culture that we work. We can go to office late, but when I move to work in a foreign organization or NGOs or UNICEF, I have to change my behavior, and also in a foreign organization, they have some different values. Example, they values individuality. They values creativity. They values proactiveness, things like that. So, but maybe if there are many foreigners in UNICEF, I don't have to show the same behavior as when I were in at National University of Laos. For example, I don't have to show respect by bowing my head when I meet the managers, something like that. Okay. This can particularly noticeable if someone moves from public sector organizations such as education to private sector one, such as company. If you want more details, see chapter 7 for this detailed discussion. Now, framework for characterizing organizational culture. See page 42. Page 42. So, framework for characterizing organizational culture. Okay, I will stop sharing this one and move to another document. Two. Can you see the new document, everybody? 42.
启动中，请稍后。请使用手。
Yep. And minimizing, enlarging a little bit. Forty-two. Sorry. Yep. 41. Okay. Concept 2.11, framework for characterizing organizational culture. Oop. There are three columns. One is Hofstede 2001, second one is Handy 1976, and the third column is Trompernard 1993. How to characterize organizational culture. One is according to process-oriented or result-oriented. According to Handy, power. Characterize according to power. Promptness is egalitarian hierarchical. Okay, I will explain. Process-oriented. Process-oriented, for example, before decision making, usually in government organization in Laos, decision making are made from is called made top down. Decision making is top down. That means decision is made at the top, and decision making about policy, about regulation, about goal, anything is made by leaders. Then is disseminated to members. But in Western culture, decision making is, I mean, sometimes is quite more often that decision is also made by participatory means. But it's more often time in Western culture, in Australia, in America, in a company that belong to the West. Decision making is commonly made by participation. Many people join and make decision through discussion and to majority. Now, Handy, power. What does power mean? Power means the level of authority. Power is like the top leader and the grassroots people, the employee, manager and employee. That's called power. Power is similar to authority. Decision making power like that. Egalitarian means equal. Hierarchy means from lower level up to the top. Employee oriented, job oriented role is one. Orientation to the person, orientation to the task. Employee oriented, for example, or job oriented. If employee oriented means the work is depend on employee to make employee happy so that they can perform well and make the organization perform better. That's called employee oriented. I give you one example in Australia. A bank, one bank is called Bank of Adelaide. They allow the employee can take their pet. They can bring their dog to the bank to work, so that they do like this because they want to make their employee happy whatever the employee feel like to do, that is make the employee feel good. Employee will be happy and work better for the organization. They believe like that. That's their value. The law is, I think, the law of leaders to manage organization, to lead organization. The role of employees, like the role of teachers, come to teach, to do research, and also to provide expertise to community, like that. This is the role. Monk, can you tell your friend what is your role in temple? What is your role? Hello, monk. Any monks?
Sometimes I cannot think out what is my role in the temple. Actually, monks have two duties to do, according to the Buddha's teaching, that learning the theory, the teaching of the Buddha, and then apply it into practice in daily life, or in order to attain some level of spiritual strength, like spiritual level. So that is our duties, our role. The role is when we learn something and then we give advice to other people to help them. When the lay people give us food, and we have to give them back, like in other kind of giving, like advice or some kind of teaching. That is what the role of the monk.
Yeah, the role. Mainly two roles. Give Buddhist teaching to lay people, and to apply to monks' life, like that. All right. It's straightforward. Orientation to the person. Orientation to the task. If orientation to the task, it's like in fact garment factory. In order to achieve the goal, for example, one day, each employee in garment factory, each employee have to make 10 shirts, 10 t-shirts. So the company have to push worker to work hard. If they cannot achieve 10 t-shirts, they have to stay. They have to extend the time to have OT, something like that. They don't care the well-being, the wellness of the employee. That's called orientation to task. Orientation to person is like employee oriented. It's similar. Okay, I will stop sharing this one because I want to save time for others. Continue. Now we share presentation. Which one? Continue. Yep. Okay, now move to next topic. Oh, this one. Topic for debate. Divide into two groups and be prepared for next week debate on Saturday. Which one do you prefer between money and intelligence? So next session we will have debate. Now how we can organize into two groups. First of all, I would like to ask you, do you want to study only on weekends? Are you available on only weekends? Can you study on, because I don't know, I'm not sure. For me, I am free every day because during the lockdown, we don't go to office. But what about you? Maybe some of you may still have to go to office. So I want to know, do you prefer to study only on weekends, or do you also prefer to study on weekdays, like tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, something? Okay, now talk to me about study day first.
So for me, so I know, so during this time we still locked down, but I am still working like the work hours from 7:30 until 4, because sometimes I always have the meeting with the parents and the student as I work in the school. So it's quite difficult for me for the weekly day. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So we will have class only on weekends. Now, continue talking about how to divide into groups. They are. Do you have any idea how can we divide into group? The first group is money. You have to talk about the benefit of having money. Second group have to defend yourself, that the benefit or the advantages of being intelligent. You have to choose one group. I think one way to divide group is according to number. Odd number and even number. You know, odd number is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Even number is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So how should we form a group? Group 1 should be money. Group 2 should be intelligent.
Are we doing a debate?
Yeah, we have to debate. The reason for debate is one way of showing your communication competency, to practice your communication competency, to practice your English as well. So also according to the syllabus. So how we form group? According to odd number and even number, or what?
Yes. It's okay.
It's okay. What do you mean?
Can you have something to say? Mutbunsin, for our friends. Have any ideas?
Yeah, share your idea. How to form group for next week debate.
I think that is okay if we count 1, 3, 5, and 7.
Okay.
Like that. Yes.
Okay.
This is okay.
So let me make decision now. From your idea, I will make decision like we will form group 1 and group 2 according to your list, your name list. Group 1 is odd number. Odd number is lekคีno. Group 1 is odd number. Group 2 is even number, lekคู even number. Have you got the list already? I will send you the list, okay? I will send you the list and you prepare to debate. Prepare to debate. And this debate, I also give you a participation score. For the participation score, the winner group will get 1 point higher than the loser. Okay. Now, do you understand this task? I will show you the list now through WhatsApp.
When do we have to do this debate, sir?
Yeah, that's good question. I think we have this debate. It's better to have at the end of the class because it's quite, you will work quite hard. If we debate at the beginning, you will get tired, get exhausted later. So first we study and we have debate in the afternoon, in the last session. What do you think?
Yeah, it's okay.
You're free, right?
How many minutes for debate?
How long?
How long? Yeah, how long that we have to debate?
Between 30 and 40 minutes. 30 and 40 minutes.
So it means we have to do this debate on Saturday next weekend.
On Saturday at about 3 o'clock. At about 3 p.m.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. Now I have sent you the list.
Okay. Hello, sir.
Yep.
30 to 40 minutes, is it for a group or for each person?
You have to share. You take turn to keep listen for your group. You have to defend your group. You have to defend your group, defend your idea.
Yes. So, like one person.
Try to have equal participation, equal share. You know. Take turn. One group, not only one person speak. All of the group members have to speak, have to share.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Okay, that's all. Now we have a break. Do you want to have a break for 10 minutes? 5 or 10 minutes? Break or no break?
I think not.
No break, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I value participation. I try to listen to you as well. Okay, now I will stop sharing this content. Second one. We will start the new session with quiz. Quiz means small question. What is cultural regularity and reliability? Can somebody answer? I have question here. Also, vocabulary. Ask the meaning of vocabulary. Assumption. What does assumption mean?
assumption mean สมมติฐาน convention หมายถึงสิ่งสมมติสิ่งที่สร้างขึ้นมา assumption การตั้งสมมติฐานหรือว่าสิ่งที่ขาดเดาสิ่งที่สมมติขึ้นมา
Okay.
and cultural regularity and variability. Regularity is something that's simple, ordinary, that means normality, that it means what people do according to the rule. But variability is something that changes depending on the situation, on political phenomena or environment. The situation that changes, then it's changed from one culture to develop into another culture that we adapt during the time. It changes. For example, during the COVID-19, as the example, very good example, Western people, when they greet each other, they shake hands, but during COVID-19, they have to join their hand to respect each other in greeting. That is variability. So that's I answer.
Yep, thank you, Man. Yeah, well, that's really good answer. For convention, I think it has multiple meaning. It has more than one meaning. Convention here may be different from creation. Okay, let's.
Convention. Sometimes I say it like when we call someone to have a meeting, we also translate as convention. For example, convention center, like mean the meeting center. But according to this context, maybe means different from the dictionary.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Correct. It's different. It has many meaning. In this context, it has another meaning. All right. Now I will show you the answer. Thank you very much, Mark. Cultural regularity, something regularly happen according to the culture, or something that happen is stable. Cultural variability, not else, is changing culture a little. Convention is the way in which something is usually done. Yep. Assumption, a thing that is accepted as true or as certain to happen without proof. Yep. Okay. Well done, Monk. Now, new topic. Culture and social group, culture and professional group, culture and community of practice, culture and multi-group membership. Okay, we have 3 subtopics, subheadings, or 4 subheadings. Culture and representation. Now, culture and professional group. Profession create and sustain relatively unique work culture referred to as professional culture. Professional culture by members of a profession to form a professional community ensure the continuance of a profession as group collectivity and guide the member to think and behave as the profession requires I will give you example of profession. Oops. Example of professions are doctors or nurses. Doctors, nurses in Laos, in Thailand, in China, in Korea, in Vietnam, in America, they have the same ethics, the same, they have similar or the same ethic, the same rules, the same regulation. Can you see? Also, lawyer in Laos, in foreign country, in China, in Thailand, in Korea, in Europe, they have similar ethics regulation. Because they study under the same principle, the same or similar principles, similar values, similar assumption, similar principle. Because a profession is not limited to the framework of a given organization or a given industry or nation, its professional culture exists across boundary of organization, industry, or nation. That's the reason. This is one. There has been relatively little research which has attempted to characterize the culture of different professions from an interactional perspective. So, again, in your thesis, you should conduct a research on profession as well as the literature suggests you, as the lesson suggests you here. Yet, during the last few years, there has been a marked increase in demand for interprofessional working. For example, in the healthcare sector in United Kingdom here, there has been a major call for integrated community care, which requires social workers and district nurses to work together. So this one, we should conduct more research on interprofessional, because in many countries it's required this group to work together. In education sector, the development of e-learning material require academics, instructional designers, and technical staff to work closely together. In international business, in areas such as in product development, work interprofessional and cross-functional team, this frequently also bring together members of different national and organizational culture, has been common for a long time. Yeah, these are the reasons for that we should conduct research on interprofessional group. A growing number of books like Reed et al. 2005, Marine 2000, and articles are now being published which explore the issue aspect in the interprofessional working. Most of them acknowledge that such way of working are not always easy. So because working together from different professions is not easy, so we need to study, we need to conduct research on interprofessional working. Example, Freeman Miller Ross person research the number of different teams within UK health sector and argue that multi-professional teamwork is challenging. Research into intercultural basis of such professional differences has been extremely limited, not enough research. Okay. Wang found that project management professionals have become work-related values and believe that bind them to form a professional community across organizational industry boundary and make them think and behave as the profession requires. Yep. That means manager or in economics, you study to become a business in the area of business management. So you learn to become managers. You study under the similar principle. You study in Thailand, in Laos, in China, in Korea. You study according to the same principle. So that's why you have similar profession, regardless of nation, regardless of countries. Okay, I will not go to more detail. Policy and procedure often based on internationally enforced law are important unifying factor for some professional group, which interestingly are then able to transcend the border and of national and organizational culture. Policy procedures principle they do not based on nation, they do not based on organization, but they use the same law, the same profession. That's the meaning. For example, health safety at work is another area which professional culture is shaped by legal or official requirements typically exert a stronger influence on behavior than, for example, organizational culture. I give you easy example is that if you have serious illness, you will have operation in your stomach. You go to hospital before a doctor cut your stomach or have operation on your stomach. You have to sign a consent form. You know consent form? Or have you taken COVID-19 vaccination? Have you taken COVID-19 vaccination? Before you inject COVID-19 vaccination, you have to sign a form that's called consent form. This is the health sector's regulation. We have the same in Laos, in China, in America. We have to do this the same thing. Here is much more policy. Okay, now I will move. I will go fast to another topic. Cultural community of practice. Another type of social group that apply linguistic discourse analysis increasingly referred to when discussing culture is community of practice. What is community of practice? Community of practice is a group of people who share concern, a passion for something they do and learn how to do it better as they interact regularly. Community of practice, example, researcher, doctor, lawyer, and so on. According to Venture, who is the key proponent of this concept, there are three criteria for defining community of practice: mutual engagement of members, Members jointly negotiated enterprise and members shared repertoire. This community of practice. In group of people where they share three elements, usual and judgment. One jointly negotiated enterprise. Shares repertoire. Do you know the meaning of repertoire, everybody?
Repertoire.
Repertoire is like a storage or a tank or warehouse or go down. Repertoire is something to collect a container to collect something.
It sounds like a French word.
Yeah, it means repertoire is a collector or container of something. Collector or container of something. Repertoire of ideas, repertoire of principle, repertoire of beliefs, repertoire of rules, of many kinds of principles of practice. In a second theme, jocular abuse was common, and in a third theme, where status and power distinction were strong. Subversive humor was characteristic. Home and stuff also illustrate the difference that can occur in small talk. Jocular abuse means indirect insult. Power distinction was strong. Power distinction. Do you know power distinction? I give you example of power distinction or power distance. For example, leader in Western culture, leader in America, leader they meet grassroots people. They shake hands, they meet grassroots people. But in Laos, in our culture, leader like prime minister, president, is very rare. They meet, come to shake hands with grassroots people. This farmer is very good, very rare. I mean, but in Western culture, in democratic country, it's very common. They come to meet grassroots people. This is called power distinction. So this is also the way how to characterize social group, social subgroup. See page 45 for small talk. Okay, now we jump to the book, page 45. Let's see what it's about. Small talk. I will stop sharing this one. Ooh. Okay, I will cancel for this one because I don't see the Oh, here, here. Wow. It doesn't appear on the screen. Oh, sorry. I cannot do this one. You have to continue presenting. To continue presenting. Okay, now we continue. Can you see the PowerPoint, everyone?
No, I can't see the PowerPoint.
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. Oh. Okay, right?
I don't see it yet.
Okay, sorry. Wait. Wait. Um, now can you see?
Yeah.
Everyone? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Technical problem. Sometimes I am not skillful enough. So, sorry about that. All right, now continue. The types of cultural regularity of a community of practice are likely to be much more limited in scope than those of some other type of group and are less likely to include the deeper manifestation of values and belief and ideology. So this one less significant for community of practice. So newcomer to a community of practice may have less difficulty integrating into the different culture because the range of types of cultural differences that they need to adjust to will probably be smaller. This one not significant. Especially this one in the area of like nursing, in law, in like rescue worker. You know rescue worker, when there's accident, they go to rescue. It's also community of practice. Nevertheless, differences in practice can still be a source of discomfort and misunderstanding and should not be ignored by intercultural risks. Now, culture and multi-group membership. What does it mean? Culture, multi-group membership. I want to hear from you first. I want you to listen to friends, not only me. Can you say something? Share your opinion, please. Culture, multiple group membership. What does it mean?
A group that come from different cultures. I think.
Including
Yes. Go on.
I hear somebody want to say something.
Okay.
That's why I stop saying.
Mang, say again.
For For multiple group membership, that means the member from different cultures. For example, when we open for Asian community, there are many people from abroad come to live in the same country, but they have different faiths. So when they come together, that means we have form new culture that they come from different belief, different country, but they live in the same city, the same
Yep.
country.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Sanket, would you like to say something?
In the internal organizations, so there is many people from different country. So they are many different culture as well, but they work together in the same organization. Yeah, like my organization, Vientiane International School, or UNDP as the professional give an example. Yeah.
Yep. Indeed. Totally agree. Yep. Now we continue. It's generally accepted that everyone is simultaneously a member of many different cultural groups, and that if intercultural researchers focus on only one type of cultural group, such as country-level culture, they are ignoring the potential impact of other types of culture, such as regional culture, ethnic culture, professional culture, organizational culture. Nonetheless, in practice, there is little understanding of how these different cultures impact on each other or how multi-group membership affect interaction. This is a major set of issues with the field of intercultural interaction has yet to grapple with in depth. This means you should, if you are interested, you can conduct research on multiple group membership as well. Culture and representation. I think the last heading, the last subtopic. Culture and representation. Let me answer the chat. Culture and representation. Let's see the content. It's clear. It's just clearly very complex to unpack culture. You know, unpack you see quite a lot today. What does unpack mean? Unpack.
In order to understand unpack, we have to understand pack means.
Yeah, indeed. Yep. Unpack. Pack mean pack. Unpack mean open. Yeah. It is analogy. Unpack here means to understand culture. Understand culture. The regularity of culture are manifested in numerous different but interrelated ways. This regularity go hand in hand with reliability. Reliability, changing, stable and changing go hand in hand. Culture is associated with infinite types of social group that can vary in size and complexity. People are simultaneously members of many different cultural groups. Example, people are simultaneously members of many different cultural groups. In Laos, suppose in Laos, in Lao culture, they can be monk, they can be Khmer, they can be Lao Lun, they can be Chinese, they can be Korean, they can be Vietnamese. They are from Chinese cultural group, they are from Hmong cultural group, but they are also Lao culture under the name of Lao culture. That's the meaning. Okay, that's all. Now discussion. How does culture impact communication? Okay, discussion before we break, before we stop. How does culture impact on communication?
I think culture has impact on communication because sometimes within the culture they have symbols, they have some clue that we have to understand before we communicate with other people. Some of the culture they have some kind of taboo that we don't know. So when we understand the symbol, the language, the tradition that they practice, then we understand this kind of thing and then can have more better communication with them.
Indeed. Who else?
I think people from different country, they have different culture, and for example, like their language, the way they talking is different. Like the Western countries, they maybe like to speak very straightforward, but in Asian culture, they may be more like shy and to impress something indirectly. Just like Bolabon said in this morning, she said when someone come to her house and don't take off the shoes, and they just smile and look at him. But maybe in different culture, they just say just like it's impolite. Please take off your shoes, kind of like that. So this is, I think, is how they impact in communication.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anything else? All right. Let me give example. Culture also impact communication. Example from my own experience. Many years ago, I taught word formation with an American teacher. We taught together in a combined class, in a lecture class where 4 classes come together. The American teacher, his name is Kenton Kirsting. One day, one morning, we were teaching, and the American teacher he brought candy. He brought candy to class. And he gave the candy to student. He gave the candy because there are many people. He threw the candy to student like this. And some students said, "Oh, the teacher was very rude. I did not like him. then when he taught, student did not pay attention to him because that student thought that he was rude. He did not respect student. But actually, the American teacher did not intend to be rude, but because for them it's okay, it's easy, so that he did not have to walk close to the student. It's save time, so he can be like that. So this impact communication as well. Yeah, that's one example. Now the second example you may find in the book. Chinese business people visited British business people in England. During greeting, the first greeting, British manager introduced. British people introduce. First of all, they sit in a round, in a long table. They sit in two sides of long table, and they also sit at the end of the table. The British manager sat on the table, but Chinese visitor sat on the chair, sat on the bench, the chair. Then the British manager introduced himself and welcome the Chinese visitor. This is Chinese business people. Then when the leader of Chinese visitors, Chinese business people said, he said that the British manager did not respect them. The British people was rude. He did not sit at the same equal chair, but he sat on the table. So they stopped. They say, stop meeting. We do not want to talk. He said like that, and stop meeting, and they go shopping. They went shopping. That's also affect communication. But in fact, the British manager wanted everybody to hear him and to see him well. So he sat on the table. He explained like that to researchers. So it's miscommunication. The meeting was not successful. It's broken like that. So it's very important. Can you share your experience? Do you have any experience about the impact of culture on communication?
For me, I have the same, the same experience as a teacher experience. Many years ago, when I studied at private school, I saw a teacher who graduated from foreign country sat on the table teaching students. The student include me as a monk in the chair, but the teacher sat on the table. I feel like not very good to study with him because he sat on the table. Feel uncomfortable to study with him. But I know that he didn't intend to be rude because he just graduated from foreign country. Maybe that is the way of foreign people do like that. And sometimes when the foreigner comes to the temple, when the monks sit for lunch or breakfast, they come and then stand higher than the monk and take photo. Come very close. That means, according to our culture, it's so that they don't pay respect to the monks because they don't know. kind of impact of communication, also impact of the culture for communication. And then when I went to a foreign country as well, sometimes the lay women come very close to the monk, and sometimes want to hold the hand of the monk, to take photo, and then I, ran away. That is kind of impact of culture. I went to China. The Chinese monk and Chinese lay people, they don't have this kind of practice. They can come closer to each other. But in Theravada Buddhism, like Laos, Thai, Cambodia, we very have strict rule. The monks have to be away from women. Far away from women, yeah.
It's so distant from
So
women.
difficult to understand. And when I went to China, they invite monks to have dinner. They have a dinner party. They try to invite monks from Laos, from Thailand to join dinner. And then I said, no, there is between Mahayana Buddhism and Theravada is different. We don't have dinner. And then they understand, and then they have their own dinner. Only for Mahayana or Chinese or Korean, Japanese monk, Vietnamese monk, they have their dinner party. But the monks from Laos, from Thai, from Cambodia, we didn't join the party.
Oh, that's kind of interesting experience, monk. Thank you for sharing. It's quite funny, interesting. Okay, what about Chinese friend, Korean friend? Can you share your experience, please? Before ending the class, can you share? Be quiet. Okay. All right. It's quite take a long time to study. Now, if you have question, please ask me a question or comment anything. Please let me know now. Then in a few minutes, I will stop. We stop our session. Probably. Okay, no question, no comments. Anyway, if you have, you can ask me again. You can ask me through WhatsApp, or you can call me. Okay, call me if you have question or you don't understand anything. So thank you so much for your participation, for your patience, for your interest, and it's really helpful if you read more from the book, from the material that I gave you. Not enough if you take part in only online or in physical classroom. You need to study more independently. All right, everybody. Thank you, and see you next week. Right? See you next week.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, teacher.
Yeah,
Have a
goodbye.
nice day.